Mimer? No.
Yeah. Mm.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech shehakol niv'bareh.
Nachem.
Chaim, chaim, chaim bracha. Welcome, folks. So we're learning the Hasidic discourse. When the sun sets is when you light the menorah, and it's a complete, beautiful metaphor. You light the menorah Chanukah. The sun goes towards the west. The sun, metaphorically, is Zoh of Atzilus, the divine spheres of emotions, six emotions. And it goes towards the west, rises in the east, goes towards the west. It goes towards the west because the Shekhinah, the divine presence, is in the west, as the Holy and Holies is in the west of the Temple Mount, west part. And so through coming down to the west, so it's in other words, it's desiring to go to the west, the metaphor, as the divine presence is there, and then to sunset. And as the Zohar explains that it wants to set, not to be shining and bright, but to set. Again, the metaphor over here is that to go down from the world of emanation, God's divine emanation, to the world of creation, of Biyah, Bria Yitzir and Asiya, and ultimately to make the forces of negativity, of Klippa, because that's what you have in the lower worlds, and the lower the world goes, and especially the physical world, more you have Klippa, you have the shell that covers over on the divine. Right. Now, why would the divine emanation of the divine Zah of Atzilus desire that want this to create Klippa? So the Zohar says that when an individual does iskafia, which means subduing the power of Klippa, resisting one's selfish desire, one's self-directed desire, which comes from the negative force, Siter Acher, right, which is the force of evil, right, that has now been created, right, by sunset. You produce godliness. The glory of Hashem is revealed in all worlds. That's what the Zohar says. So apply that to our topic over here, that when the sun sets, meaning when Klippa is created from the divine, in other words, is all the sun is a divine concept here that we're speaking about, right? And ultimately it's about its setting, not its shining, because even when it shines, you only get a glimmer, you only get a ray of the shine. So ultimately, about the sun sets, creating the forces of negativity, of Klippa, in order that we can resist it. Resist it, or even more so, schavcha, which means to transform it, right? Which gives us freedom. As a result, we have the freedom of choice, right? To resist it or to transform it. And by that struggle, that we have, we cause a tremendous godly revelation. It reveals the ultimate source of Kalipa in the spiritual worlds, a level that's fundamentally higher than the entire revelation of the sun itself, right? Which is the emanation of, in the world of emanation, the world of Atzilus. Right.
Higher than Atzilus? Higher?
You're revealing its ultimate source. It's higher than that. Higher, yeah.
Higher than the emanation. Yeah.
Higher than the emanation, than Atzilus, right? This is why the Zohar, it says that when uses the word istalit, which literally means to go up, to describe this revelation. Usually a revelation means come down, right? The sun is revealed. When the sun is revealed, well, it means the rays are coming down, right? There has to be something coming down to you in order to reveal that thing, right? That you put on the lights in the room, right? So there's light coming down, right? In order to allow you to see, right? So usually we would use that terminology, but the Zohar says that it becomes uh, elevated. It goes up, right? Which is the opposite. Why? Because the revelation is so great that it's on a normal revelation of godliness that would be coming down. It's so phenomenal. That's why we don't experience this, right? But through serving God this way, we achieve the ultimate purpose, which is making a dwelling place for God in this world, right? Chaim. So, meaning when I have a negative thought towards somebody, or I want to say something that might be, I've been triggered and I want to say something that's hurting me, that's all coming from Klipa. That is a Klipa response. Or an action that I'm taking. Eating something that would be, on impulse, right? All of that is klipa. All of that is klipa. Resisting it, or even better, transforming it, that's a harder job. But resisting it, at least, right? The desire to think negatively about a loved one, the desire that you got triggered and you want to say something. Or the the you know overeating, right? Because of the pleasure of the palate. So resisting that, I think, is like, okay, so we know we might feel good about ourselves. Oh, but here's much greater. Through that, you make a dwelling place for God in this world. You're fulfilling creation's purpose. Psh. Now, it might not feel that way. And because what's being revealed is the presence of God. In other words, you're doing that because of Hashem, because of God. So you may not feel that you're making space for God. Yeah. Chaim v'racha. Lots of work to do. Now, in order to make it possible to reveal God's presence in the lowest aspect of creation, right, which reveals the highest godly source, so Hashem had to create the negativity, he had to create the evil. And evil is the ultimate expression of klipa, of sitra acher, the lowest possible form of existence. Right. In other words, this coffee, David's coffee, by the way, wow, is klipa, but klipa's noiga, right? There's some good there, right? Not just good taste. There's some good there that you can elevate, right? Right. Of course, making a blessing over it and so on and so forth, right? Um, but then there is, evil itself. So a complete hiddenness. This is at least some glimmer of, of possibility to use it in an elevated way. Evil is not, right? Now, oh, even though klipas became integrated into the world through the sin of the tree of knowledge of good and evil, right? Which would seem to imply that they're not part of God's plan because, hey, Adam and Eve, that was their thing, right? Nevertheless, no, we should make no mistake, it's part of God's plan. This is Neira Hashem al bnei Adam alila. Hashem brings libels upon man. What does that mean? There's a hard concept to get that God blames Adam and Eve for what they did, but the fact is, it was part of the plan that they would eat from the tree of knowledge and good and evil. It's part of the plan. So why they get blamed? Okay. The choice was theirs, but the fact that it was sort of like almost a coerced choice in a sense, but on some, anyways, this is why God also built the world of Tohu and destroyed that world. Actually, the world of chaos, yes. He built worlds and destroyed worlds, shattered them. Why? And others, God built the Garden of Eden, right? And God shattered it. He blames Adam and Eve, but in the end, that was part of the plan. So the world got shattered, and that's why they were, escorted out. They were kicked out. It wasn't a punishment, it was a consequence. That was already preceded. That idea. God creates a world called Tohu, a world of chaos, where the light of God is so powerful and the vessel to contain the light is minimal, and therefore shattered. Why? So it was a setup. Just got the inner epiphany of, why blood libels against Jews? Well, because God made the first libel, right? He did it on Adam and Eve. He did it before that in creating Tohu. He creates it in order to shatter it. So he makes something in order to destroy it. Why would he do that? Because he wants the sparks from that lofty level from the world of Tohu to then fall, so to speak, figuratively, right, into the spiritual worlds and even more so into this physical world, into the physical reality of this world that is either klipas noiga, like this cup of coffee, right, that has a ray of something good in it, but even lower than that into something that is completely negative, completely removed from any holiness. Why would God do that? Why? Because he wants us to engage in that. And instead of it becoming from top down, it should come from bottom up through us. The whole intended purpose is that we make a dwelling place for God in this world. That's the purpose. So therefore, we light the menorah when the sun sets, because the sun set, why? The sun only wants to set in order to create below, meaning in the lower worlds, klipa, not just klipa, but even ra, even evil, in order that we now will take those sparks and elevate it. Take that part of the divine and elevate it. Wow. Wow, wow. That's the power of the Chanukah lights. And what we'll continue with this is we do it until the Tarmadoi, right? Those wood gatherers are the last ones in the market. Whole idea of what's market, what's the Tarmadoi, we've learned a little bit about that, and we'll continue with that. Wow. All right, we have what to live with.
Thank you, Rabbi.
We have what to live with. We'll see you soon.
Chag Chanukah.